stance, gonna throw again. Looking on a slant to Farmer, makes it good. Grab in traffic, spins out of a tackle. Touchdown, Fresno City. To Marquise Cropper, and Marquise using his strength, shaking off tacklers. He's at the 50, he's breaking loose. He's at the 40, O'Reilly, 30, 20, 10, 5. Touchdown, Rams. Marquise Cropper, 72 yards. It's a TD for City, and it's a beauty.
All right, welcome to another edition of the Fresno City Football Report, and this is kind of a celebratory edition of the report here on the KC24 CBS 47 Plus app. I'm Scott Bemis, alongside the head coach of the Rams, Tony Caviglia. And Coach, tell me real quick who you brought today.
Yep, this is Antonio Cherry, middle linebacker. Played great all year. He's a special person, special player, and yeah, it's going to be interesting to visit with him today.
Yeah, it sure is. Antonio, you're from Hopewell, Virginia. So before we go in and recap the rivalry win over Reedley, a game where the offense scored 77 points, you play middle linebacker. You're a captain for this Fresno City team. Tell me how you ended up at Fresno City, coming from Hopewell, Virginia.
The AD at my high school, like my mentor, also my trainer, just a strong figure in my life. And he's a good friends with the athletic director at Fresno City College. And, Derek Johnson was just telling me about the opportunity in Fresno City, so reached out and got in contact and went from there.
Well, I know the Rams are happy to have you. You're the leading tackler for this Fresno City team. Coach, Antonio had 3 tackles on Saturday against Reedley, but it wasn't really the defense, I think, that was the story in this game. It was your offense. I think even Antonio would admit that. You guys scored 77 points in retaining the pump, 77-24 win over Reedley in that annual rivalry battle. And the great news here is that Fresno City is in the state playoffs. The computer spit out all the numbers, and you guys are the 5th seed in the North. There's 6 teams who make it in both the North and the South. You guys are going to be taking on City College of San Francisco after a bye week this week on Saturday, November 22nd. When you got the news that you were in the playoffs, Coach, it had to be exciting.
Yeah, it was, we were in, we were out, we were in, we're out. When you do the RPI that distributes the power rankings, there's even teams with that are not in the conversation affect who gets in the playoffs. So we're waiting on scores from the Sacramento Monterey game. We're waiting on a score from the Redwood game up north, and so we had our computers out and we were looking at it, and we were in a little bit, and then we got word that this team lost and we were out, and then finally, when it was all said and done, talked to Dave Silverstein at the state level, and he said, "Yeah, you guys are in, and you actually came in at number 5, which is good." Butte came in at number 6. That knocked Sequoias out because Butte actually won the conference championship up there, but their power ranking index was really low because of their strength of schedule, which was a problem for them last year also. But since they're a conference champion, they got in at the 6th spot, and COS, who had a higher power ranking, got knocked out.
Yeah, so the top 6 seeds there, the 6 teams that made it in the North, top seeded College of San Mateo, number 2 Modesto, who won the Central Valley Conference, the conference that the Rams are in.
If Sacramento would have beaten Monterey, DVC would have been number 2, and Modesto would have been number 3. And that's how fine points it was.
Kind of sounds like the old BCS, Coach, with all these computer formulas.
Well, this is all objective. It's no subjectivity, so it's not like the old BCS.
Well, that's true. Although the original BCS had a big computer component to it as well. Like 2/3 of it, I think, was strength of schedule, and or 1/3.
This is 100% computer.
Yeah, no, it's 100% computer. So no biases get in the way. It just spits out, based on your record, opponent's record, and opponent's record. Correct.
Exactly.
And so that's how they decided. Just to finish off those top 6. 3 is DVC. 4 is City College San Francisco, who the Rams will be playing in the opening round of the state playoffs. 5 is Fresno City, and then 6 is Butte. Again, there are 3 conferences in the North in junior college football. The 3 conference champions get automatic bids, and then there are 3 at-large selections as well. So Fresno City gets one of the at-large selections because Modesto got the automatic bid out of their conference. Antonio, that's got to be kind of fun. I know you probably were focused more on the week-to-week, the game that was in front of you, but you knew that was kind of hanging out there, right? That and when you got word, how exciting was it?
Yes, sir. I was fired up, just the opportunity that we've been working for since January, and at Fresno City College, it's a standard, go to the playoffs and compete for a state championship. So, just fired up and just ready to go week by week.
And Coach, you guys made a little statement there in your final game of the season saying that, hey, we deserve to be in the playoffs. I don't think they factor in margin of victory. So margin of victory has nothing to do with it. And you were not in any way trying to run up the score against Reedley. It was just one of those games, right, where just everything you were doing offensively seemed to be working. You put 77 points on the board, which tied the most in school history. It tied a 77-6 win versus San Jose when you were the head coach, I believe, in year 3 in 2001. Putting 77 on the board, that's not easy to do, right?
Yeah, and no expectation going into the game. I mean, we're looking at Reedley, and they got good players all across the board. They're well coached. They're very sound. They really probably should have beat Sequoias. They went to overtime in that game. They had a little clock issue at the end that kind of cost them. They played tough against San Mateo and the teams that in the preseason, and they were really close in many games and just couldn't get over the top. But they have really good skilled players on offense. They were really, they had a couple 300-pound guys on defense, and so the expectation level was to try to play as good a football game as we can and get the win and let the computer do their stuff after the game but I think we're playing pretty good football right now. We held Jordan Colbert out of the game, who was our guest on the show last week. He had a mild concussion. We had made a decision not to play him just because we weren't sure exactly. He had a little bruise on the back of his neck when got hit when his helmet came off. So we had 4 other running backs step up and. We tried to shorten the game a little bit in that second half, but guys play hard, and no matter what the score is, you got to block and tackle. So, never really want to score that many points. Just want to score enough points to win the game, but sometimes that happens.
Yeah, and I mean, having watched the game, having broadcast the game on 940 Kino, it was just one of those situations, right, where everything just that could go wrong went wrong for Reedley in that game. Everything that went right could go right went right for Fresno City, and Coach was playing a lot of guys who don't normally get a ton of time in the second half, and they were still making plays for City. And Antonio, I was joking around with you before the show that I was watching some high school video of you, and you played a little tight end in high school, scored a few touchdowns in high school. Were you lobbying Coach to get in that game late against Reedley on offense?
Actually got held back on the second half, so I didn't
that's true. Yeah, that's true.
He actually, since he ejected for a bad targeting call, he had no voice. Whether he was going to get the ball on offense or not.
That's true. I forgot about that, Antonio, which is funny because I think there were so many points going on the board. I was trying to keep track of everything, but it was a hit down near the goal line, and I saw you signaling to the official kind of that that he kind of ducked down after he made the catch. Right? How hard is it being a defender, in those situations, right? Because I think you were probably just aiming for his chest, right? But when the receiver goes down, and he was a small receiver as well, sometimes you can kind of hit the neck and the head area inadvertently, right?
Yeah, definitely, wasn't intentional. Just our back was on the goal line. I'm read and react. I'll play inside backer, so anything come across the middle, I have to do. and I seen the ball was ready. He was ready to score, so I'm just making a play.
Yeah. Tell me about that, playing the middle linebacker position. Give me a little idea of what goes into that. I know you're a captain, so you're calling out the signals, right? You're like the quarterback of the defense?
Yep, quarterback of the defense. You have to really – film is very key. You got to know what the opponent do, any shifts or checks they make, formations, things like that. So, knowing the other team and also just knowing your team as well. So knowing each position from the D-line to the DBs to the wheel linebacker next to you, you got to know all of it. So very mental part of the game from the linebacker position because there's so many keys and checks you have to do from run reads and pass reads. So just really starts with the mental part. And then the physicality of the game, being in the middle of the field and just having to be ready for that too. So it's a lot that comes with linebacker.
Well, we think about the quarterback, right? Coming up to the line of scrimmage, we see him all the time go up to the line and kind of make checks here and there. Are you doing the same thing defensively? You going up, telling D linemen, giving out calls to everybody?
Yes, sir. That's what I pride myself on, just making sure that my teammates just in the right position, right gaps, and just making sure they're more confident and just in their position, so making sure they're in the right spot to make plays faster.
What did it mean to you being an out-of-towner, right? Because there's so many Central Valley guys on this team, right? I mean, you're from the state of Virginia. I'm sure it was kind of an interesting adjustment for you to come out to Fresno City College. But what did it mean to you that when your teammates voted you a captain, one of only two captains on the team? Yaje Vance, the quarterback, is the offensive captain, and you're the defensive captain.
It really meant a lot to me. It definitely wasn't. I wasn't expecting it. Definitely just wanted to be a leader in the weight room, off season, things like that. So it kind of just came naturally. But just really blessed and honored that my team voted me. Especially just being an out-of-town guy, not from the area. So these guys, I'm meeting new, fresh, new environment. So it just definitely was just an honor just to be called a captain on this team.
Yeah. Do you kind of feel like a Fresnan now? Like you're a Central Valley guy?
Yeah. Man, I got a great relationship with my teammates, their families, so it's been great. I feel like, at home, feel very welcome as soon as I got here. So definitely, I kind of do feel like I'm from Fresno in a sense.
Well, we're happy to have you. We adopt everybody. We bring everybody in. And once you're in the Central Valley, you're always a Central Valley guy, going forward, representing Fresno and the San Joaquin Valley. And Coach, I'm sure, you get to see what Antonio does on a daily basis, the way he carries himself, not only at practice, but in the locker room, off the field as well. What kind of, characteristics does he have that makes him a really good captain?
Yeah, he's trustworthy. He's we know he's showing up to work every day. He's on time. He's a lot of the young guys look up to him, and they try to model what they do after what he does, and that's called leadership. Good leader makes everybody around him better. He has that quality. He's actually continuing to get better at linebacker. Like you said here, the mental part of the game is just like the quarterback on offense. I mean, we have one coverage that has 8 different checks that have to be made, and it's between him and the secondary. And you got to have a guy at that position that understands it, and you can, as a coach, can really trust.
We hear about coaches, meeting with the captains or meeting with their leadership council on the team. How often do you meet with Antonio and Yaje during the season, or is it just more informal to kind of get a feel for the locker room and a feel for the, the spirit of the team or how the team's doing emotionally?
Don't meet with them. We meet every day as a football team. But Yaje and Antonio were chosen after the end of the spring semester, going through spring practice, the winter program, winter conditioning. All the things that we did in the off season, and then at the end of the spring semester, it's culminated at we choose the captains, we give them an award, and we recognize them at the Rammy Awards, which is like our ESPYs at Fresno City College, and that's carried through the season. So this is done well before we put our team together, and it's all based on the attitude and effort that they have during the off season.
And I'm sure you don't take that responsibility lightly, Antonio?
Yeah, it's a privilege, Like like I said, just blessed to be in the position. You know, just taking advantage of it and just making the most of it. You know, just being a role model and just working hard and just putting everything I got into the team.
Tell me a little bit about where you're from. Hopewell, Virginia. You're in, about a couple hours south of D.C., right? A little bit inland there in Virginia from the coast. What's it like where you're from?
Small city, real small city. You could drive through Hopewell like 10 minutes. So it's really small. We got one high school, one middle school. So it kind of tells you of how like the culture like is in Hopewell. You know, it's very small, so everyone knows each other. You know. It's not a wealthy area. You know, a lot of violence and things of that nature go on in Hopewell. So it's a tough environment to come up in, but it definitely it creates you. You know, it makes you. So
yeah, you never forget where you came from, right? Does that sounds like that kind of resonates with you a little bit as far as maybe getting an opportunity at some point, after moving on to a 4-year school and whatever you decide to do, once football's done, do you want to give back to your hometown?
Yes,
and what would you like to do?
Yes, sir. Just pushing positivity, just being a role model, and just giving the ones around me just hope. You know, we call it Hopewell, but just really just spreading more hope in the city. Giving them a role model to look after, just showing the kids that they can do it too. You know, I live in the same area as you. You know, it's no excuses just as long as you just keep your head in the right place and just work hard, and you can achieve excellence. You know, so that's the main thing. So.
What kept you on the right path? Were there some mentors or high school coaches, teachers, parents that kind of kept you on the right track?
Yeah, my support system is amazing. Just very blessed for them. From my mother and my father, just being in my lives and just always making sure I just focus on school and sports. Just always reminding me never to, worry about the outside things or anything financially. Just worry about what I have to do. And then, like I said, my athletic director in high school is a mentor in my life and really guided me through high school and built my physicality up playing football. And then also just my best friend, Keyshawn Henderson, his older brother, Travion Henderson, that played for Ohio State.
Oh, wow.
Currently with the Patriots.
Yeah, had a big game yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
For the Patriots, yeah.
So just being around them, my closest, they were like family, so just always with them and just seeing how positive they were and just how on track and, they was just going on the right track because their older brother, Ronnie Walker, went to UVA, went to Indiana out of high school. So just giving me hope and just showing me the way with work ethic and just staying on track with school. So my support system.
Yeah. So did Travion go to your high school then?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So he's from Hopewell as well. Are there some other big name guys who've come out of your school?
Daryl Taylor, he's with the Houston Texas. That's like the next. He's clearly older than Trey, so he was the last one to go to the league. But it's been a lot of talent coming from Hopewell. It's just the things around it just draw people in and just make them lose track of who they could be. Yeah. So.
And I get the sense high school football, big deal in Hopewell, like yes, Friday nights.
Yeah, but we only got one high school, so everybody's support, wearing that blue and yellow. So, yeah, definitely,
definitely a big deal. Definitely. And Coach, just listening to Antonio here, I mean, I see why he's a captain, right, and why he's one of the leaders on your squad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's when we talk about it all the time, right? But like this is another example, right, of why junior college football is a great thing, right? Giving kids an opportunity. Yeah,
exactly. And coming out to the West Coast, he opened up some doors that weren't open for him coming out of Hopewell. And I'm just really excited to watch how he develops and what the future holds for Antonio Cherry because he's a quality person first and a great football player.
All right, let's switch gears, talk about the playoffs a little bit, Coach. It's almost like 2 seasons, right? You got the regular season. Well, you got 3 seasons, sort of. You got the non-conference, then you got the conference portion of the season, and now you got the playoffs. I think I know the answer to this. I think you're going to say that you keep doing things like you've been doing all year long, but does anything change, not necessarily with how you're handling things on a day-to-day basis, but just, with the mindset, the intensity level, the focus level when you get into the postseason?
Well, you're right. There are 3 seasons on our schedule, and I think in our first season, which was preseason, we maybe a C minus. You know, we didn't play good. We left a couple games out there games we should have won. Really trying to get our bearings as a football team, kind of see who we got, who can fit where, trying to get our matchups, all those different things, and it took us a while because we started really young, 63 freshmen, and then we got to conference. I think we're B plus in conference. We got out of the bye week and didn't play very well at all up against Modesto, but we rallied after that game. You know, I've seen teams just kind of go sideways, you know, and you just don't know what to expect. And great leadership from Antonio and Yaje and some of the sophomores, and we defined our roles on our football team a little bit better, and you know, we're on a 4-game winning streak now. So B plus, it would be an A if we won that first game, and so you know the funny thing is from the preseason to the conference we've gotten better, you know. So now I'm hoping we can get even better in the postseason. You want to play your best football at the end of the year. You know, we talked about this on the show after the COS game. You know, November are the games you remember, and we're right here in the middle of it, and I really excited to get this team back on the field and get to work on San Francisco.
Yeah, this won't be the first time that you've played San Francisco this season. You guys went to San Francisco as part of the non-conference, and it was a really tight game. Came down to the wire. Was that the game where Liam had the long field goal attempt, a 59-yarder to try to win it that came up a little short and a little wide left, the field goal kicker for the Rams? What'd you learn in that first game, Coach, that you can apply to take 2?
Oh, there's lesson after lesson after lesson in that game, and you know. One of the things about the playoffs, to be perfectly honest with you, every team that we've played this year are in the playoffs. So we've played every team in the playoffs except for Butte, who's ranked behind us. So, you know, they know us and we know them, and it's just going to be a matter of, you know, who plays the best football on that given day. And you know, obviously I really felt that we kind of left it on the field there in that San Francisco game. We probably should have came out with a win. But you know, it's all part of the story, and so now we gotta you know refocus and you know play a better game up there.
It seems kind of appropriate to me, Coach, that you're going up to San Francisco, you know, to play the other Rams, because we've joked about it before here on this show. They've kind of been a thorn in your side over the years, especially in your first decade or so. Had some opportunities there when it was you and San Francisco. Fresno City and San Francisco were kind of the top 2 teams in the state for a long time. It's a unique environment there, but I really think, you know, in that first game, you guys showed that you could more than compete with them, and I mean, it's a play here or a play there, and that's probably what it will come down to again, right? Yeah.
We had some structural problems that we corrected on defense, and then offensively we you know I think we're going to run the football better than we did in that game. So you know it's just all football is all about adjustments and getting your guys in the right spots to make plays, and then the players going out and doing it. You know. I'm excited. I never thought I'd go back on that campus again after we left there a couple 4 or 5 weeks ago, whatever it was, but sure enough, you know, things happen like that. So yeah, we're excited to get ready to go play that game.
You know, this game means everything. Our season is on the line. You know, and the game of football is whoever plays the hardest and make the least mistakes. And like Coach said, we made a lot of mistakes going into that game. And we corrected those mistakes, and you know we're just ready for Saturday.
Tell me about interest at the next level. Are you getting some already? I'm assuming you are. Yeah.
Yes, sir. I have a Division I scholarship from Central Michigan. They were my first offer. I'm talking to some other schools as well, but they're the first school that pulled the trigger. So.
That's great. What are you studying, or what do you plan on studying?
I'm majoring in business, so I plan on going into business.
Business school. Is there anything you want to do with that degree in particular?
Of course, I want to have my own business. And also, just money and the aspect of, like, just how our economy works and things like that just interest me. So that's why I chose that.
That's great. Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And Coach, what about Antonio maybe makes him somebody you think, hey, this guy's going to succeed in life at whatever he does?
No doubt, no question. You know, he's overcome a lot, even to this point, and you know, he's going to keep growing and developing. He's never satisfied. He's always trying to be better, and you know, guys like this make it in the world, and they bring a bunch of people along with them.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing.
I know, absolutely. Anything about the Central Valley, Antonio, that reminds you of home in any way? Or is it just totally different?
Yeah, it's just totally different. Yeah. I'll say
Okay,
even
let's
the
see.
people
Is
here.
it the weather? No.
No.
Food?
No, the
No.
food different.
Food's different?
Yeah.
No. The streets?
Different.
Different.
Yeah.
The houses?
Different.
Football?
The football is different too. I'll say
Different?
different style, yeah.
What's the difference?
Shoot, just I don't know, like how everybody like play, practice. It's just I don't know. It's just a different vibe. Maybe it's just because I'm coming from high school and college and
Yeah.
kind of see, but I just think it's a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I see from looking at a little bit of the high school video that it looked like your home stadium kind of tucked amongst some kind of like a forest area, sort of, right?
Oh
Is that
yeah, it's a
correct?
lot of trees. Shoot, our stadium is ancient. It's really old because our field is connected to this building that used to be our high school like years ago, but our high school is in another location now. But shoot, just even like teams that come in, I think that gives us an edge. Just the style of football that we play and how our stadium looks. You know, coming in is just look like you coming into like a prison or a dungeon or something.
Oh
So,
my goodness.
yeah, so
It's scary coming into Hopewell. Is that
yeah,
what
I
you're
think
saying?
it gives
Okay.
us an edge. You know.
Yeah, for sure. No, a little intimidation factor. Did you always know that defense was for you? Like, even though you played a little offense?
Yeah, I always was a defensive player. Shoot, even just in Little League, just the physicality of defense, you know. I never been the one to really like taking hits. I like the one giving hits, you know. So I always knew I was going to be a defensive player. But just my athletic ability and the use for my hands and just my agility on offense, you know, just utilize it for the teams that I did play for.
Absolutely. Coach, as we begin to wrap this up here, you guys are in the playoffs. It's an exciting time for Fresno City football. You get to, extend out your coaching career, hopefully maybe 4 more games, right? That's the ultimate goal. Although I know you're looking at 1 right in front of you.
Exactly.
right now.
Yeah.
Just a thought, a final thought before we say goodbye on this season and getting to the playoffs and what this meant to you.
Well, it meant a lot to the team, to these guys, because again, this team had faith in our systems and our program and our coaches, and they just kept coming, even though our back was against the wall and we were frustrated and we took a couple losses that we shouldn't have done, and just to see this team turn it around is credit to the guys we have playing and the coaches we have coaching them and the whole program. For me, that's what I'm going to remember the most about this 2025 team, I want to keep playing as long as we can because I like being around these guys.
I want you to keep playing too, Coach, because it's fun to broadcast these games. And again, we'll have at least 1 more game for you, maybe as many as 4 more for you in the state playoffs. We can hope. But the first one, state playoff opener, NorCal playoffs. It'll be 5th seeded Fresno City traveling to City College of San Francisco. Again, that will be on Saturday, November 22nd. The entire state, all the teams this week have a bye week before the playoffs get going. But I want to thank head coach Tony Caviglia again for coming by, and middle linebacker and captain Antonio Cherry. Was this fun?
Yes, sir. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was a blast meeting Antonio, and get out there and root on the Rams as they try to make a playoff run here in Coach C's final season as the head coach. All right, that's Coach C, that's Antonio Cherry, and that's another edition of the Fresno City Football Report.